Hailey Bieber thought she had time. Time to build her empire. Time to settle into marriage. Time to figure out motherhood later. But life had other plans. When she appeared on a podcast and casually admitted that her pregnancy was a surprise, fans leaned in closer. Because this wasn't just an oops moment. Behind that calm confession was a private medical warning that could have changed everything. Before she ever saw two pink lines, her doctor had cautioned her about a condition quietly sitting in the background, a uterine septum. She had been told they needed to monitor it, maybe even consider a minor surgery. But at the time, pregnancy wasn't on her radar, so it felt like something to deal with eventually. Then suddenly, eventually became now. She made the call to her doctor. "I'm pregnant." Instead of celebration, there was a split second of shock. Because they both knew what this could mean. A uterine septum isn't something most people talk about at brunch. It's a thin wall of tissue dividing the uterus, something women are born with. Mild cases can go unnoticed. Moderate cases, like hers reportedly was, carry heavier risks. And those risks aren't small. We're talking about significantly higher chances of miscarriage. We're talking about possible preterm delivery. All while the world sees glowing photos and polished appearances. That's the part no one prepares you for, smiling through uncertainty. And as her baby grew, so did the tension behind closed doors. Doctors explained that with a moderate septum, the risk of miscarriage could range anywhere from 25 to 40%. Let that sink in. Nearly half. For most women, pregnancy already feels fragile in the early months. Now imagine carrying that statistic in your mind every single day. On top of that, there was a 10 to 20% chance of preterm labor. Hailey later admitted that preterm delivery was actually their bigger fear. As the baby developed, the septum would stretch along with the uterus. Everything had to expand exactly as it should. And luckily, it did. But luckily doesn't erase sleepless nights. It doesn't silence the what-ifs. Adding to the anxiety was her own family history. She revealed she was convinced she'd go into labor early because of patterns she'd seen before. Sometimes fear isn't logical. It's inherited. It's whispered through stories you heard growing up. So while the public speculated about baby names and nursery aesthetics, she was quietly wondering if her body would cooperate. That's when modern medicine stepped in with something called the pre-TRM test, an advanced blood screening that analyzes placental proteins to estimate the likelihood of delivering before 37 weeks. For someone already bracing for worst-case scenarios, that test wasn't just clinical. It was emotional. And when the results came back low risk, it didn't just provide data. It gave her room to breathe, but even with reassuring results, the pressure didn't disappear. Being married to one of the most talked about pop stars on the planet means every life update becomes headline material. Over the years, rumors have swirled about their relationship. Reports claim there were rough patches. Fans online have speculated about tension, and critics have questioned their timeline. So when news of a surprise pregnancy surfaced, some observers immediately tried to connect dots that may not have even existed. That's the strange part about celebrity life. Personal milestones get filtered through public narratives. Yet through it all, Hailey reportedly stayed steady. Her doctor later recalled a moment that stuck with her. After listing every possible risk, every percentage, every clinical concern, Hailey looked back and said she believed everything was going to work out fine. Not in a naive way. In a grounded way. Confidence can sound reckless when statistics are scary. But sometimes belief becomes its own kind of medicine. And that quiet resolve may have been the most powerful part of the entire journey. Because while doctors monitored scans and ran blood work, she monitored her mindset. And that mindset refused to spiral. In the end, her body did what it needed to do. The septum expanded without causing the devastation they feared. The early labor she was bracing for never came rushing in. Despite the odds stacked in percentages and probabilities, the story didn't follow the darker path it could have. She later reflected that her body had its own plan, a statement that feels simple but carries weight. Especially after months of anticipating worst-case outcomes. What makes this story linger isn't just the medical detail. It's the contrast. The polished red carpets versus private doctor visits. The glowing social posts versus quiet statistical dread. It's a reminder that behind curated images, real battles unfold. And sometimes those battles never trend. Her pregnancy may have been a surprise, but the resilience wasn't. It was built in every appointment, every cautious ultrasound, every deep breath after another reassuring update. And maybe that's the real takeaway here. Not the percentages, not the headlines, but the fact that even with risk looming, she chose belief over fear. And now, looking back, that surprise feels less like chaos and more like destiny unfolding in its own unpredictable way.